Today, as you can see, we're going to be working a home decor piece. This is an end for a table runner from the year 1899, and it has not been blocked. That's why it's kind of unkempt and wavy looking here. Also, it does hang better whenever it's actually hanging. Like, these pieces sit better. Here is the original. Here you can see the finished end table. I actually pinned it. I pinned it to this pillowcase because I don't actually have any way of, I don't have a table runner. You can see it needs to be blocked. It definitely needs to be blocked. But there is that. And it looks really, really nice. As you can see, I'm using some condiments to hold the pillowcase up. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful. And that's simply pinned in with T-pins. It's not sewn in, but this is how you would sew it in. You just sew along here, then sew along here, and then you can sew down at the bottom, and that's it. And you can really do it by hand. Very, very pretty, isn't it? Oh, I absolutely love it. It's so pretty. Let's see if I can get you a better look at it. There you go. The lighting is not the best, but there you go. Pretty. Okay, so I am going to use the number 10 crochet cotton and the 1.5 millimeter number 2 crochet hook. Now, I did correct the one actual genuine error. If you get the pattern, you will see that it says pattern correction, start with a chain of 18 and not 20. When you start with a chain of 20, you will have 2 extra chains. That had to have been an error. I tried working it a couple of different ways, thinking I'm doing it wrong. No, there's just no need for 20. And then, as you can see from the photo, and one of the photos, if you get the pattern, you'll note I put it upside down. That is because we worked the pattern from the bottom up, and so this will be a nice, easy way for you to reference the photo without having to flip your pattern all around. And then they say this scarf end is very rich looking and of unusual design. The border alone, repeating the second row, makes a simple and pretty insertion for towels. And I also point out in the pattern that this is a UK written pattern, and to see the last page for conversion terms. So I did include a chart back here that has got all of the UK stitch terminology and the corresponding US stitch terminology, and also a section here for notes so that you can write down what size thread and hook you used and what row that you're on and things of that nature if you put it up for later. And right here also, so you don't necessarily have to refer to the stitch terms if you do not want to, for US pattern readers and crocheters, where you see a DC or double crochet, work a US single crochet, and where you see a TR or treble crochet, work a US double crochet. And of course, please see the conversion chart. So everything will be covered for you in the pattern if you want to follow along that way. So let's just go ahead and get started right now. So we will be starting with a chain of 18. There we go. Chain of 18. I'll be right back. Okay, so there is our chain of 18. Now remember, this is in UK terms, so we are going to be working with treble crochet and double crochet, but for us as US crocheters, it will be single crochet where you see a DC and a double crochet, US double crochet, where we see a TR. Okay, so here we go, a TR. So I'm just going to translate this into US terms. So a double crochet in the 8th stitch from the hook. So here we go, and I always work in the back bumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to work a double crochet here. Here we go. and then we will chain 2, miss 3, which translates into US terms as skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch over, work a shell, which is 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. If you're following along in the pattern, you're going to see that it says 2 TR, 2 treble, but again, that's going to be 2 double crochet in US terms. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Now we will chain 2 and skip 2 chains, and in the 3rd one over, work a double crochet, chain 2. Oops, you should have 3 chains left, so you're going to skip 2, and in the very last chain, work a double crochet. Now this is going to be the repeat. What I'm about to show you will be the repeat until you have 22 of these made in a row. And of course you can count them by simply counting the shells. So you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the top of this double crochet, work a double crochet. Chain 2, work a shell in the shell, and again that's 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. 1, 2, 2 double crochet. Now we chain 2. We're basically going to copy everything we see. So now we're going to chain 2 and work a double over the double, or in the double, into the top of the double, chain 2, and work a double crochet in the 3rd stitch over. So 1, 2, 3. Then you will chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and repeat everything all over again, working a double into the double. So this will be the repeat, like I said, until the 22nd row. And here I will show you that here. And it says here, from row 2, so forgive me, I said the 22nd row, I'm a big fat liar. So from row 2 to row 21, so I apologize for that. So until the 21st row, and it says to chain 5, treble in treble, which means double in double, chain 2, shell in shell, chain 2, double into double, chain 2, double into 3rd chain of chain 5, turn. So that's what we're going to do until we have 21 of these, not 22. And of course, if you have a stitch counter, that will help. Chain 2, shell into the shell, 1, 2, chain 2, and 1, 2, chain 2, double over the double, chain 2, and double into the 3rd stitch over. Now your first stitch, your first chain is always going to be kind of mashed up here. There is what it is. So it's kind of hard to see. So, but that is 1, 2, and here is 3. There you go. And then you'll chain 5 and just repeat. And repeat this all the way to the end. And you can count your rows with the shells. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I will meet back up with you whenever we are at 21 of these. Okay, so here I am at 21 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. It does say to chain 5 and turn at the end of this row. Okay, now for row 22, oops, a little bit low there. Like 2nd row, then do not turn at end, but chain 18. And so 2nd row, is where we chain 5, and then we do the same thing we've been doing. So we're going to work one more shell row, and then we're going to chain 18 at the end of it. So I already have the chain 5, turn, work one more of these, chain 2, shell in shell, chain 2, double in double, chain 2, double in the 3rd stitch over or the 3rd stitch up. Okay, now we chain 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be right back. Now we have our 18 chains, and it says miss 4 spaces, fasten in the next TR or double crochet for US, back. So we're going to skip 4 spaces starting with our very first space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the next double crochet or treble back would be this one right here, right at the very, right here. So we fasten with a slip stitch right there into the top as if it's just a double crochet, even though it's the side of one. Okay, so this is the start of, this is the start right here that we are working on, right here. Now it says chain 3, fasten at end of next row back and turn. Now it says to chain 3. I found that to be too bulky. I'm going to show you what they intend you to do, and I chain 2, not 3. So chain 3, we'll follow their instructions first, chain 3, and then you're going to fasten right here the next stitch up, right there, and join with a slip stitch. But do you see how it's bumped out? It's too bulky, and it's very noticeable on your finished product. So I would just chain 2 and try to chain 2 firmly, because we're only using this as a builder. There's no other significance to this little stitch here. So I chain 2 very firmly, just as little as possible. Just gives us a little bit of reach to get up here. And then we slip stitch, and it's a bit less noticeable. It will blend in much better this way. Now, moving right along. So now we will work 27 double crochet under the 18 chain. So chain just 1. It doesn't say to chain 1, but chain 1. And start working 18 double crochet. I wouldn't work them too bunched up because there's going to be plenty of room. Not 18, forgive me, 27. There is going to be plenty of room for all 27 double crochet. You certainly don't want them to be too spread out, creating unsightly gaps, but certainly don't worry about mashing them all together. I would just work 10 and then maybe adjust them a little bit. Work 10 more, adjust them a little bit, and then work your last 7. That way you keep it looking nice and even. This is what we're looking for. See, you will have plenty of room for the 27. So I'll be back whenever we are done with the 27 double crochet. Do bear in mind that this right here is not one of your 27 double crochet. This is just the chain 2 that we used as a builder, okay? That does not count. Okay? Okay, so here are our 27 double crochet. Now it says here, continue the border or insertion like second row. So that means go ahead and work a double crochet right into the work we've been working on right here. To continue to work, this is the border. When they say border, they're referencing this work that we started off with. So we'll work our first double crochet of the border, then chain 2 like we have been, double crochet over the double crochet, just like that, chain 2, and shell over the shell. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off camera. Okay, so that's all done now. And in this pattern, every time they say the word border, like right here, row 24, it just starts with border, like second row always. So pretty much every time we work this direction of the border, just know you're automatically gonna need to turn and work it again this way to bring us back to our design down here, okay? So every time it tells you to end by working the border, just know the next row is going to start with work the border row because they expect you to go this way and then come back this way. So let's go ahead and do that, starting with our chain 5 as usual, and work the border all the way back. Be right back. Be sure that when you work your way back, you do finish the border all the way. So you will work your chain 2 from this point and work your last double crochet right here. It should look like this. Okay, now let's work the rest of the row. And again, we are on row 24. If I didn't mention it again, we're on row 24. Now, the rest of this, and I let you know in the pattern where you need to go next, because this kind of a pattern breaks down kind of confusing. So for the rest of row 24, we need to go to the next page, column 1. We are to chain 3, miss 3 double crochet of, there we go, come on. And here we go, column 1 of scallop. A double crochet in each of the next 3 double crochet 4 times. Then chain 3 and fasten in next row back. Chain 3, fasten in next row turn. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, oops, there we go, 3, and let me get in here. We're going to skip 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and in the next 3 double crochet we will work a double crochet. So 1, 2 in the next stitch over, or should I say, let me rephrase, 1 in this stitch, 1 in the next stitch over, and 1 in the next stitch after that. Then chain 3 and repeat. Skip 3 and then work 3 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. Chain 3 and repeat. So this will be repeated all the way to the other side. When you get to the other side, come on back and I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, coming up on the end, and what we're looking to accomplish here is to create 5 of these openings here. So we have 4, 2, 3, 4. We need 1 more, and we have 3 stitches left. This chain 2 that we used as a builder does not count as a stitch at all. My thumbnail is now covering it. So if it looks like you have 4, you actually have 3. And bear in mind, you can always tell because this clearly looks like a chain when you look at it. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, then come over here to this next bracket up because you want to keep the height the same. So you don't want to join down here, you want to join up here to keep the height the same. So we're going to join with a slip stitch, and you can treat this like a double crochet. Just go right on in, slip stitch. Now it says to chain 3 at this point, but we're going to chain 2 because like I had mentioned before, it's just less bulky. So we'll chain 2, and I chain them nice and tight. Then we come to the next, what appears to be double crochet up, and work a slip stitch into that. Now we're going to work our way back over this way. Moving on to the next row. And we are going to chain 2, shell of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet under the 3 chain, or under the chain 3. Oops, I'm so sorry. Under the chain 3 5 times. Then chain 2 and double in double, then work the border. When it says border, that means work the border. So we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2, turn and work a shell in this opening space here. We won't be working into the tops of the doubles. So we want 3 double crochet, 2, 3, chain 2 and 3 double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, then chain 2, 1, 2, and repeat into all of the spaces here, 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 all of the spaces. Repeat this. Now what I will point out is the shells that we work on the border are 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, but whenever we're working our detail here, it's always going to be a shell of 3 double crochets separated by a chain 2. So we just work the 2 double crochet shells here, but in this portion all of our shells will be 3 double crochet. So continue to work this repeat all the way to the last one. Go ahead and work the last one, and then come on back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. So you've worked your last shell now in this last space here. Now we're just going to go ahead and work the border. So we're going to you have to chain 2 first. There we go. And we still have to chain 2 even though our first stitch is right here. So right here, your very first stitch, work your double crochet because this is part of your border. Should look like that. And go ahead and work the border. Work it forward and again the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and work my border this way and that way. I will be right back. Okay, now we are ready for row 26. It says to work the border, but we already did that. We worked the border going this way and that way. We're ready to go. We are going to chain 3, shell in shell 5 times, and then chain 3 like 24th row. I'll show you what they mean whenever they say like 24th row. So we're going to chain 3 this time. 1, 2, 3. And in the shell, work a shell again. Just a quick reminder, when we're working this portion of the pattern, our shells are always 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double. So work a shell in the shell and come on back whenever you have worked your last shell down here on the end. I'll finish this first one with you. That's 2 and 3. Now chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and work your next shell. So just keep repeating this and come on back when you've worked your last shell. Okay, done with my last shell right here. Now when the pattern says work like row number 24, this is what they mean. So we started off with a chain 3, we're going to end with a chain 3. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again, to keep the height right, just like we did before, you're going to chain into this one right here, not down here, but up into this one to keep the height right. So this is what they mean when they refer back to row 24. It's just a repeat of what we did clear down here the very first time, because this is row 24 right here. So go ahead and join with a slip stitch right into this area here as if it's a double crochet. Then chain 2, and again I do it rather tightly just to keep the bulk down. And then right here, right just above it, we go ahead and join with a slip stitch, and that moves us up one like a ladder. Now let's move on to row 27. Oops, there we go. Row 27, chain 3, fasten with a, when it says double crochet, for US that translates into a single crochet. So chain 3, fasten with a single crochet over preceding 2 chains. Now at first this thoroughly confused me. I had to undo all my work because I had this thing, I had half of it made up to about this point right here, and I had to undo it all because this wasn't very explanatory. So now I get it. So you'll have the benefit of getting it too. So over preceding 2 chain of 25th and 26th rows. That really should have been my cue, but my clue, but I'm kind of dense sometimes. Then chain 3, shell in shell, chain 3, fasten over 2 chain 5 times, chain 3, treble and treble, work the border. So we're going to start with a chain 3. I already have my first chain done. 1, 2, and 3. Turn, and here are the 2 chains that they want you to wrap in. And remember, because it says, and of course this is the part that I didn't pay attention to, that's entirely on me, of 25th and 26th rows. So we're going to come down here. We're going to work a single crochet. So come down here and gather these up. We aren't here. I probably was off camera there a little bit. So you'll come down here and gather up these 2 rows of chains and work a single crochet. Now chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then work a shell in the shell. 1, 2, 3, oops. Let's do that right. Chain 2 and 3 more doubles. 1, 2, and 3. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we repeat. We come down here, gather up those rows worth of chain, those 2 rows of chains, and work our single crochet. Then chain 3. I need a little tension on my thread. And work the shell. And then I like to just give this section a little tug, separating it, just to give it a little tug, give it a little slack. And this is what you should have. So you work your shell in the shell, and then just repeat what we just did right here. So when you finish this shell, you will chain 3, then you will come down here and gather these and work your single crochet, then chain 3 again and work a shell in the shell, and repeat all the way to the end. So I will be back when I have finished working all of these, and here is how it should be looking for you. Okay, be right back. I just finished working my last shell. I'll go ahead and stretch these out a little bit on camera with you. There we go. Just a little tug, and they open right up and fan out quite nicely. So we're going to finish off exactly how we started. Last shell is done, so we'll chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then these 2 rows worth of chains right here, we're going to gather them up, work a single crochet, chain 3 again. Now it says to work the border, so give it a little tug so you can see what you have here. And right here, this little curled up stitch, That's our first double crochet of the border. So go ahead and work a double crochet in it. And remember, you should have a chain 3 first. Then chain 2 and work your border as normal. Work it forward, chain 5, turn, and work it back. And then we'll start the next row. To finish the border going back this way with you, only because this can look a little odd the way it is being dragged down like that, but this right here is in fact our last stitch, the one that's kind of being pulled right here. So you'll work that to complete the border row. Just like that. And then you'll have your chain 3 coming down this way. So now let's do row 28. Okay, and then it starts off with border, but we're way ahead of them. We already worked the border going back this way. So now we will chain 9 and fasten. Oh, I don't even have you in here. Here we go. Chain 9 and fasten with a single crochet, US single crochet, in center of shell 5 times. 5 times. Chain 9 and then like 24th row. So we're going to chain 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and fasten with a single crochet, UK double crochet right here, and repeat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and right into the top, that chain 2 space, single crochet again, or a UK double crochet. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this, and I'll be back once I've worked my last single crochet in this chain 2 space. Okay, let's finish this up. Chain 9 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And like we have been doing, because it says to finish like row 24, so we're going to attach to right here above where we slip stitched into before. Just go up 1. And we will join with a slip stitch, then chain 2, and 1 more stitch up, join with a slip stitch. Now let's see what we do next. Row 29 is what we're on next. Here we go. And it says here 12 US double crochet under the 9 chain 6 times, then double in double and work the border. So pretty easy round. So let's just chain 1, which I already did after I fastened my slip stitch. So I've already chained 1, turn, and work 12 double crochet into the around the chain 9. 1, 2, and 3. And that's pretty much it. You don't have to worry about what to do with these single crochets because we're just jumping right over the top of them. Just work 12, then 12, then 12, and I'll be right back. Okay, worked that all the way across. So now we're just going to work 1 double crochet, but we're going to work our border. So without chaining anything at all, here is the first stitch of the border right here. So we'll just work our double crochet into that, and then work the border as usual, forward, chain 5, and work it back. I'll be back. Okay, now we are ready for row 30. And it says we're going to work the border, but we already did. Then it says, here we go, chain 1, miss 1, then work a double crochet into the next. Repeat from here around the scallop, then chain 1 and like 24th. So what we're working on now is this first row of filet crochet all the way around, okay? So we will chain 1, skip one, and in the next double we work a double, and that's the repeat all the way around. Chain one, skip one, work one, double, chain one, skip one, work a double. So I will be back when I get all the way around, and then we will work our way back. Work our way back this way again. Okay, worked our way all the way over. Now we will chain one. Did we start that way? We surely did. Okay, chain one, and right up here is where we're going to join. Then we will chain two, 1, 2, even though the pattern says to chain 3, and join again, one more up with a slip stitch. Chain 1 and turn, and right into the very first chain 1 space, we repeat the last row again. Chain 1, and into the chain 1 space, we work a double, chain 1, and into the next chain 1 space over. So this will be the repeat all the way over to the other end, and you will end the same way. You're going to chain 1 and join. You're going to chain 1 here and join with a double crochet right here, and go ahead and work your border, chain 5, and work your border back. So that is, I didn't think you really needed me to show you too much on this row because it's pretty simple. You're just going to work your filet crochet into the chain 1 spaces all the way over, where you will end with a chain 1 and a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, work your shell, you know, work the border forward and back again. I will be back when we get to the end back again portion right there. Okay, all done working our way back. I worked the border going this way, then the border coming this way. Now we are on row 32, and it says to work the border, but we already did. So now we are going to chain 3, skip 2 spaces, and then shell in the next. So put a shell into the 3rd space over. Do that 12 times, then chain 3 and like 24th row. So we will chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the very first space, skip the next space, and in the 3rd space over, work a shell, and this will be the repeat. Chain 2, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2 spaces, 1, 2, and in the 3rd space, the whole space there, and work your shell. So this is the repeat. Just like this, all the way around. Come back when you have worked your last shell. Okay, worked our shells all the way over. Now we will end with a chain 3, 1, 2, oops, 3, and then much like we have been doing, we're going to join right here, then chain 2 and join up here, and that's what the 24th row means. So we will join with a slip stitch here, and I chain 2 and join with a slip stitch the next stitch over, chain 1, and let's see what's next. Row 33, we will chain 4, work a shell in the shell 12 times, then chain 4, double in double, and work the border. So we're going to work the exact same row again, except for the difference is instead of chaining 3 between our shells, we'll be chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, And right here, we just start working our shells, followed by a chain 4. 3, chain 2. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Now chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the chain 2 space, work your shell. Okay, so this will be the repeat all the way over. Then it says to, when you work your last shell, you will then chain 4, jump over the chain, and join right here, and then work your border. Chain 5, work your border back. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, now we're ready to start row 34. So we already worked, it's telling us to work our border, but we already did that. So now we're ready to go. Chain 5 this time and work a shell and shell 12 times, then chain 5 and like 24th row. So this is the way a lot of the pattern is going to be, just repeats of the same thing with mostly different chain counts in between the shells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then work a shell in the shell and repeat this all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you will work your last shell, chain 5, and join. Here's your old join. You're going to join right above it, then chain 2 and join up here, and come on back and we will start the row that goes this way. Okay, now we have finished this portion here, joined, chained 2, and then joined in one more bar up. Now we're going to change things up a bit. This is the part where we start making our straps that go like that. So here we go. We're going to chain 3. I already have my first chain made, 2 and 3. And much like we did before, we're going to gather up the chains from the last 3 rows now instead of just the last 2. So we'll come down 3 chains, this one here, come under it and pull up a loop and work a single crochet. Now chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and of course we're going to work a shell in a shell. Now we're going to do this only 7 total times. 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So this being number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. On the 7th one, we're going to make our first strap. So I'll have to do that last double crochet again. That was my brother answering his video phone. Sorry about that. So now we'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then again come down to the 3rd chain, 1, 2, and 3. Come underneath it, pull up a loop, and work you a single crochet. Ooh, got a little doggy here. Work you a single crochet, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we work our shell in the shell. So if you want to, excuse me, lost my voice there for a second. If you want to, just work until you have 6 of them, and then we'll work the 7th one together. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and almost all of 6. I just haven't gathered up down here. So let's work this last portion together, then we'll do the chain. So chain 3, there we go. Single crochet, chain 3. This will make number 7 right here. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Now on the 8th petal, that's what I'm going to refer to them is actually where we're going to work the chain. So please forgive me if I misspoke just a moment ago. So chain 3, 2, 3. We gather up our chains, work a single crochet. Now, on the 8th petal, we're going to work our chain. So 1, 2, 3, and only work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Now we are going to work a chain of 49, then turn. Skip 3 chains, so in the 4th chain from the hook, work a double crochet all the way back down, 46 double crochet total. Okay, so let's chain 49. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 49 chains, and of course, I like to work in the back bumps always. So I will work in the back bumps, count 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one, work your first double crochet and work 1 double crochet in every single chain stitch to the end. There we go. I will be right back. Oops, slipped my hook. Oof, that gets annoying. I do that a lot. Does get annoying. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, so I worked all of my double crochet back down. Now we're going to join into the chain 2 space by finishing up our shell with 3 double crochet. Sorry for all the noise. 1, 2, and 3. Now, like before, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Come down here and collect our 3 chains, work a single crochet, and we're going to repeat this 1, 2, 3 more times. Okay, so you're going to want to do this whole thing 1, 2, 3 more times total, and then we will work the last one. So I will be back whenever you are ready to work the last one, which is actually the short one. Okay, be right back. Okay, so here we are now. 1, 2, 3, 4 straps total made, and this is how everything should be looking. Now we're ready to move on. So now we are going to repeat this on this side here, but now we're going to chain 17 because this is the short strap right here. So now we're going to chain 17 and then work the chain of 17 the exact same way here. We're in the fourth chain down. You work your first double crochet and then you finish off with 3 double crochet to complete the shell like that. So we chain 3, come down here and gather up these 3 rows of chains, work the single crochet, chain 3, and work our 3 double crochet. 1. Sorry about that. You know, I do this a lot on camera because I have my arms stretched out under a camera. And so I like lose my footing, so to speak, with my hook. All right, 17. 1, 2, 3. I will be right back. And then just like we did before, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that 4th stitch, we start working our double crochets all the way to the end. I will come back when I have worked my way over to the end. Okay, so here's where we're at. Now we finish off by into that same chain 2 space, working the 3 double crochet to complete the shell. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And now it says 3 more in the same, chain 3 and fasten over the next 3, treble and do border, which means double and double for US. So we're going to end it the same way we started it. Chain 3, 2, 3. We're going to gather up these 3 chains. There we go. Work the single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the top of this double crochet that's kind of bending over a little bit. That's how we start our border. That's the first stitch of our border. So let's work the border forward and back this way again. I'll be back whenever I'm on this side of the border and ready to start the next round. So now it says, this was row 35 we just did. So now it says row 36 on pattern page 1, column 2. So now we have to go back to the first page and we will find column 2. So it says here, let's do this. I like to just mark it all off. Rows 36 through 55 work like second row. We're working the border. So what we did, let me get you up here. What we did working all of these, we're going to do again from row 36 to row 55. So we are now on row 36 right now. We just finished row 36 whenever we worked back this way. So get the stitch counter, 36. Next one up will be 37 all the way to row 55. So come on back whenever you've gotten to row 55. I suppose I can show you what that means. Basically, you're going to chain 5 from here, just like we did working our way up at the very start of the tutorial. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yes. And then just work our border rows as we've done before so many times. Chain 2, 2 double, 2 chain, 2 double, 2 chain, 1 double, 2 chain, and a double in the third chain from the bottom, or the third chain over. So just keep, now that was row 37, now I'm going to do row 38. So just keep doing this until you have reached row 55. Okay, so we have worked our way up. It's a total of 20 rows from row 36 to 55. Now it says that from row 56 to 68, we work the same as the 22nd to 24th row. That's going to be pretty much all of this. Oh, got a little hair. We're going to work all of this except for the row with the little straps coming off of it. So if you need to rewind, go ahead. Unless you have the pattern with you, you can just refer back to the pattern. But I will leave a timestamp in the pinned comment below that will zoom you all the way back here to the 22nd row. And we're just going to have to work the 22nd row all the way up to the 34th row. So we're not going to do this portion. That's going to be, it's going to be similar but different because now we're working it on this side. So things have to be done a little differently. So go ahead and rewind and do that. And then come on back. So again, if you don't remember how that's going to start, you're going to start by working your border row back. So I'll do that really quick. Worked my way back over. So now everything should be, you should be in this direction along the side of these here. You should be on this side. And then you just chain 18 as it will state in row 22, and you will chain 18, miss 4 spaces, fasten in the next double crochet back. So just do all that. Click that timestamp down below. It will take you back to row 22 and just work from there. And once you get to row 34, when you complete row 34, don't move on to row 35. Come on back or fast forward a little bit if you need to. Well, you'll need to. And then we'll move on from there, okay? So I will see you in just a few seconds. Okay, worked my way all the way over. I haven't finished the row. I'm going to finish that with you, and then we will move on to the next step. We're getting pretty close to being done now. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we join up here with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and join in the next stitch up. Okay, now let's see what we do next. Since we are done with the 34th row, we are ready to now work row 69, because this is what we did work before, row 56 to 68. Now we're ready to work row 69. So we're going to chain 3 and double crochet over the 3 chains as before. Then chain 3 and a 3 treble in, and 3 treble in the shell, fasten in end of strap of 14 treble double crochet. Treble crochet for the UK, double crochet for the US. All right, so we're going to start with our chain 3, 2, and 3, turn. Now we're going to gather these 3, all of these 3, and make our single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we are going to join the shortest strap to the end of our new shell, and mine is worked up a little loose, so it's going to look a little funky. I don't like the way it's worked up. But here we go. You'll chain 3 and work your 3 double crochet to start your shell. Then grab your short strap and work 3 single crochet into the strap area around the end of that chain 3 there. 2 and 3. Yarn over, come down into your chain, or come into your shell area and finish your shell. 1, 2, and 3. Again, mine is a little stretched out, so it doesn't look so good. See, mine's a little stretched out. Yours will probably look better. Let me show you my first one. My first one looks a lot better. Here's where the seam is, and you can see I worked my chain much tighter, so my end is not quite so stretched out, so it looks really good. This one here, not so much luck. It's a little stretched out, so it's funny looking, and I apologize for that, but let's move on. Okay, now it says continue from last repeat in 35th row. 35th row down here, that's covered up, and here's our repeat. Chain 3, single crochet over the chain 3 as before, chain 3, treble in next shell, 3 double crochet in next shell, then chain 49. So that's what we are doing. We're basically repeating all of this that we worked. We're going to make 4 of these little straps again, but on this side. So here we go. We'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you will gather up these 3 chains, to work your single crochet, chain 3, work 3 double crochet to start your shell. 1, 2, and 3, and then you'll chain 49, just like we did before. And then in the 4th chain from the hook, you'll start working your double crochets all the way back down to the base, and when you get to the base, you will simply finish your shell with 3 double crochet. Then you will chain 3 and gather these 3 chain up with a single crochet and carry on until you have 4 total straps made. Okay, so come back whenever you are done with making your 4 straps over the next 4 leaves. Okay, now we have our 4 straps, so we're just going to finish this row off as normal. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, gather up our 3 chains in a single crochet, and then work a shell in the shell. And then repeat that all the way to the end. And when you get to the end, you will chain 3, gather up your 3 rows with a single crochet, chain 3 again, and work your border this way, then turn and work your border back that way. And I'll meet up with you whenever we get back to that point there. Okay, now we are at the portion of the pattern where we're going to interlock everything. So you won't have to deal with the struggles I dealt with yesterday learning how to do this for the first time. I'm going to help make your life a lot easier with this. Grab 7 stitch markers. We're going to go ahead and pre-attach everything so that way whenever we're working across, it's easy as pie. Okay. So what it's going to want us to start off doing is making another row of shells. So we're going to work our way over to this point right here where we're going to work another shell right into here onto the side. This is going to be the bottom portion that's going to hold these 3 straps over here, and we're going to work along this side like this. And then the same over here, this will come around the other way. So let's start with our first strap. Let me move you down just a little bit. So here is what it's telling us to do. We are on row 70, and we're going to work 7 shells, and then we are going to miss 11 double crochet of strap and make a shell between the next 2. So between stitch number 12 and 13, we're going to work a shell. So grab your stitch marker and count 1 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And in this space right here, the space between 12 and 13, we're going to treat that like it's a chain 1 space. Go ahead and put your stitch marker in that space there, and then grab this first strap right here at the top, and we're going to go over, under, and over, and then attach. You've got the chain 3 at the very tip, attach that chain 3. There we go. Now we're going to attach the next strap between the 22nd and the 23rd stitches. So grab another stitch marker. We have stitch number 13 right here on this side of the stitch marker. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So right here between 22 and 23. Then we're going to grab the next strap over and go under, over, and under, and attach right on that chain 3 tip. Okay, and now we're going to work our next one between the 34th and 35th stitch. So grab your stitch marker, and we are at number 23, which is right here just on this side of the stitch marker. So 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and we want 34th. So 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So there is between 34 and 35 right there. And the next one is going to go this one will go over, under, and over, and then attach. There we go. Now we're going to attach these two ends together right here. It's a bit fiddly, but when you get everything all pinned up, it's a lot easier to work with. Okay, now moving on to the next page. And we are going to, between the 11th and 12th stitch. So not counting the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me recount that. I lost my footing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Grab my next stitch marker, and right between here, there we go. Then I will attach, make sure it's not twisted, and here we go. We want this one. Nope, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Here we go. Getting a little bit jumbled here. Under, over, and under. And of course, we'll make sure nothing is twisted as we work. And then attach. And now we want to go between the 23rd and 24th. Grab stitch marker. And here we have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Try that again. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So right in here. Okay. Grab the next strap over, which will be this one here. And we want this one, I know it looks like a mess. We want this one to go over, under, and over. And, uh-oh, oh, it popped out. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. It is a mess, but once you get it all done, this really does make this part of the job so much easier. Can you imagine doing this without them being attached? It was really, really frustrating yesterday. So this one's going to go under, over, and under. And we want to join between the, where are you at? 35th and 36th stitch. Okay, so we are already at the 24th. So 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So right here. And then attach. Okay. And of course, as we're working, we'll make sure nothing is twisted. But yes, that is how that part is going to work. So this really does make life so much easier if you take the time to do this first. Now let's get to work. We're going to start with a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start working your shells. So you're going to work a shell separated by a chain 5 until we get to this portion right here. Chain 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start working your next shell. Okay, so work that all the way over to this point right here, and then I'll show you what we're going to do over here. I'll be right back. Okay, we've worked our last shell. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And right here where the strap is joining, we're going to work a shell right onto the side of this chain 2 space right here. A whole shell. If I can. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. Let me pan out just a little bit. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. And we're just going to continue to work chain 5 and shell. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then right where the stitch marker and the strap is, we're going to work another shell. And so my strap is straight. So I like to stretch it open just a little bit. Then go ahead and start working a shell in there. 1, 2, and you do want this strap to be on top of this portion because this is the back of our work. This is how it will look from the front. And 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. Then you chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come over here to the next strap. Make sure that it is straight. And I am straight. Again, I like to kind of stretch the hole just a little bit, make it easier to spot. That way, in case they get unaligned, it's easy to see. And just work another shell and continue this all the way. So when we get to the point, we're going to work a shell in this join over here. So I'm going to finish up this shell and I'm going to work this shell and I'm going to come back and we're going to work this point area down here together. Okay, here we are now at the point. So I like to work this side on top of this side. So we don't need this and we don't have to worry about making sure we can see them because it's just the chain 3s on the end. So we just want to definitely make sure it's not twisted. And I like to work, again, this side on top of this side. I'm going to chain 5 first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Grab this side and it is not twisted, it's straight. And join these two ends with a shell. There we go. Then just continue working your chain 5 and shell in all the remaining stitch markers. And when you work your last shell right here, come on back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, now we have worked all of our shells along the strap. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like we started off, we're going to work a shell right here in this join chain 2 space. 2 and 3, chain 2. Oh, sorry. 1 and 2 and 3. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just carry on doing what we did on this side with these. So work your chain 5 and shell in the top of every one of these like petals, and then come on back when you get to the end. Okay, let's finish this row up with a chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go ahead and join right there. And like we've been doing, we will chain 2, join up here. This next row is going to be very, very easy. You're going to chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn, and work a shell in the shell, followed by a chain 6, then work a shell into the next shell, followed by a chain, separated by a chain 6. So shell, chain 6, shell, chain 6, all the way across, including these. Just keep working your shells and your chain 6s all the way to the other end to right here, and I will meet back up with you when we get right here. Okay, now that we've worked our way all the way back over, I've already chained 6, so chain 6, and then right here at the top of this double crochet, start working your border, and work your border going this way and then back that way. Now let's see, we're just about done. So the next row starts with border, but we'll have already had it made. Chain 6, shell in shell, and then when you get to this portion here, you will work you're going to join, of course you'll be on this side, you're going to join right here, chain 2, work up, and then turn, and you're going to chain 4 and work your single crochet around all 3, because you're going to have a third chain right here. Wrap around all 3 to start closing these off with working your shell in between. Again, that's going to be a chain 4, work your single crochet, chain 4, and then work a shell in the shell, chain 4, work your single crochet, chain 4, shell in the shell, all the way to the end, and then it says to work your border, and that's it. Then we start working on the tassel. So I think you guys have worked enough rows of this that you understand everything I had just explained, because it's just 2 rows of the exact same thing. You want a total of 4 rows of shells. So let's go ahead and jump right to the tassel, because this is just about done. Yeah, these little guys here curling a little bit, but they're not twisted. They're just curling up a little bit. Again, this does need blocked. So let's go ahead and let's get the tassel made. Okay, so to make the tassel, I'm going to use this as my guide. It measures 5.5 inches exactly. So you'll just, the doggy hair, hold it on there and just start wrapping around. Now, when I made the tassel the first time, I don't have the foggiest idea how many wraps. I was literally watching TV and just wrapping, and I stopped whenever I thought this is plenty thick enough. So let me get a whole lot of wraps on here. Again, I don't know how many I'm going to make. I'll just show you how it looks. Okay, so it'll look about like this. I don't know how many wraps that is. but we'll go ahead and slide this off. Cut that. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut right along here. There we go. Okay. Now cut a fairly long piece, because this is not only going to gather the top of the tassel, but you're also going to want to use these ends to sew it to the bottom of the end, the table runner end. So, I mean, I'm going like longer than a foot here. Like, you definitely want a lot. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and gather everything together, and then we will tie a knot right here at the top, but like this. Wrap it around your finger, pull up just a little bit like this. Push that down through. There we go. And then keep your finger in there so you can direct how low the knot goes. Then you can stop it like right there. Now you will use these ends right here to sew it onto the bottom like that. But now this portion here, we just grab another piece of thread. There we go. And we will tie it in a knot this way. Tie it in a knot. Oh, I pulled up on a piece. Okay. Give a good tie and flip it over and tie it again. And then flip it back this way and tie it one more time. And then when you have your darning needle out, you can take these and just kind of try to push them back down in there and blend them a little bit. But, okay, let's try to make this a little bit prettier. Okay, so here, I mean, theirs looks way better than mine. So, but this is how the end result will be. Of course, I don't feel like I made it very well, but it's okay. It still looks good. Let me show you the original I made. There we go. And I just sewed it all throughout here as if weaving in the tails. I just sewed it all throughout here and into here to really secure it in. Here's how my original one looks. It looks better than this one I just made, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, then you just trim up the bottoms to try to even them out as best as possible, and that's it. That is absolutely it. That is the whole thing. So I hope you guys really, really like this, and I hope that you make it, and let me know in the comments if you will. I think this thing is great for your own personal home, or even for a home warming gift, or a wedding gift even. So I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what era we'll be working in. I don't know if we're going to be working a wearable or an accessory or a home decor. We will see. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.